For those of us that might not be as familiar with what WorkWave Payments is, or who are newer to the payments conversation, so to speak, WorkWave Payments is our streamlined payment processing solution. So what does that mean? Streamlined is you don't want to have to worry about any extra steps in terms of how you process payments when it comes to how you're collecting it from your customers. And we do this by having it seamlessly being integrated within your current WorkWave software. So whether that's PestPack Select, or WorkWave Service. And with it being seamlessly integrated, it cuts down not only the time spent that on the back office end you are spending in terms of processing payments, but it also actually helps you collect payments a lot faster, get them put through the settlement process, and then end up having that money accessible to you and your deposit within a few business days. One big thing that was huge with WorkWave Payments when we first started is to make sure that security was of utmost importance. We are fully PCI Level 1 compliant, and that is the highest level of PCI standard mandated by PCI SSC. What is PCI SSC? PCI SSC is the Payment Card Industry Security Standards Council. I know, it's a lot of words. But essentially, they are the ones that are responsible for making sure that any payment facilitator, any payment processor, as the payment industry evolves, as we all know, cybercrime increases on the daily, that anyone collecting money, anyone depositing anything is upholding the highest level of security, not only for the business side of things, but for your customers and who you're serving. Also, most recently noted, WorkWave Payments was added to the Visa Global Registry of Service Providers. What does that mean for you? Even more security. This listing acknowledges service providers that have shown their commitment to security by meeting the requirements of the PCI standard. So in a nutshell, payments is secure, payments is fully integrated, and it's simplified. And that's something that we've seen just in the first few poll questions that you guys have answered for us, is a lot of you said simplicity was of the utmost importance when you're choosing a payment processor and a payment facilitator. Now, for anyone who's looking for a little statistic on what WorkWave Payments is doing for our merchants, since we've launched in 2019, and that means since we started onboarding and bringing merchants live onto payments, hundreds of businesses have successfully migrated to WorkWave Payments. But of that grouping, it has ranged from smaller, mid-sized businesses to all the way up to enterprise businesses. This also spans customers that have been with WorkWave for years, and also customers that are brand new to the WorkWave product suite. On average, WorkWave Payments is currently helping merchants process well over 1.1 million daily, and that is only going to increase as more merchants come on to WorkWave Payments, but also as a lot of businesses start to hit their groove in the busy season as well. So it's working on a daily basis, it's secure, and merchants are getting their money. And that is obviously what is the most important at the end of the day. Also with WorkWave Payments, we benefit from providing our customers a blended rate structure. So a blended rate structure, what does that mean exactly? It takes into account the various fees for all card payment processing services and different various kinds of payment functionality. So it's with a blended rate structure that we're able to provide such features and functionality such as card on file and account updater at no added cost. And when we mean no added cost, you're not going to get a monthly recurring bill or fee for these services like you'll find with a lot of other payment processors or facilitators. And that's because we know the impact that this has on your business operations, your workflow, and how you're able to best service your customers at the end of the day. With a blended rate, when we say all cards also, we mean all cards. We now allow Amex to be collected at the same processing rate as you would a Visa, same as a Discover, same as a MasterCard. And with that, you can still collect a check in ACH and obviously cold hard cash as well. Cash has been king for a while, but as we all know, accepting card payments for your customers and for you is a lot simpler at the end of the day, especially for those that are looking to have auto billing, as we've seen in the polls earlier. It's very convenient. Keeping cards on file at no added cost, as we just mentioned, is very beneficial for businesses and for the customers that they're serving. Just to go back real quick. So that was a quick recap as to what payments was. And so keeping with that topic and how we're going to continue to build up payments, continue to provide service offerings to businesses that they then can pass on to their customers, I'm very excited to hand this over to Carrie, who can start to paint that picture for us and debut for you guys the enhancements that we've made and what is on the road going forward.
Super. Thanks, Alyssa. Let's talk a little bit more about some of those enhancements that our customers are already experiencing and are going to be experiencing with WorkWave payments. I'm going to try not to be too redundant, but Alyssa already alluded to a few of the things that I'm gonna talk here a little bit about. So one of the advantages that you will have if you're on payments or are coming onto payments is a choice in your settlement preference. So you are most likely currently being charged all of your card processing fees, your ACH, e-check fees, all of those are coming out of your bank account at the end of the month. This is how Vantiv, Element, WorldPay have handled settlements for a very long time. And it's not the most current. If you happen to be looking at coming onto WorkWave payments and maybe you've been processing with something not integrated with one of our products, a Stripe or Square, you'll be a little bit more familiar with daily fee settlements. So the big difference is monthly. It can be a hit to you at the end of the month. You might not always have a good estimate of what those fees are going to be, and in some cases it can be a bit of a shock to see those fees come out of your account at the end of the month. With daily fee settlement, your interchange fees for processing based on that blended rate that Alyssa mentioned are going to be taken out of your daily settlements. There will still be some month-end fees such as e-check and chargebacks that you might have had during the month. Those will still be collected at the end of the month in a total, but the majority of your fees, those interchange fees that are those processing fees on every transaction, will already have been accounted for. You'll already have seen those come out on a daily basis, leading to less of an end of the month surprise. And the great news is, coming onto WorkWave payments, you're going to be able to tell us which settlement model you prefer. So we'll find out as you come onto the payments platform, which do you prefer? And if you should decide at some point in the future that you would like to change, we can make that change for you and it'll be effective the beginning of the next month. So this is a way that we are excited to help you run your business the way that you would like to and see those fees coming out based on your preference. So Alyssa mentioned card on file. Some of you have likely been taking advantage of keeping credit cards on file. If you've seen some of my other webinars or some of my other videos, you know I'm a big proponent of subscription pricing, subscription models for your services. And all of those, you know, are really looking to move to put customer credit cards on file, charge them on a set frequency, make billing for you much more automatic in your processing. So another benefit that WorkWave Payments offers is that you're going to be able to put those cards on file at no additional fee per card. So if you've been with some other processors, Vantiv, Element, WorldPay in the past, you're familiar with either a card on file fee. You might also have heard it called a token storage fee. WorkWave Payments, as Alyssa mentioned, assures you very secure processing and never stores actual card data, which is known as PAN data. So your customers are going to enter their card information into a PCI compliant iframe for card entry. That's what appears on our portal or on our ePay links. That card information is then tokenized, and we store the token for that card, and that's what you're actually processing against each month or each quarter as you process on those subscription pricing. So a lot of payment processors, almost all of them, charge an additional fee per card stored, and with WorkWave Payments and that blended rate that Alyssa talked about, we're able to offer that at no additional cost to you. So again, another way to make sure that you're able to run your business the way you want to, and you're able to move towards that model if that's of interest to you. Along with that, the more cards you put on the file, the more you're going to want to make sure that you're seeing as few failed payment transactions as possible. So you don't want those gaps in services to happen due to having expired cards on file. So we're able to offer what we call Account Updater. You may have taken advantage of this in the past. It was an option that Vantiv WorldPay offered. A very small number of our customers actually took advantage of it because of the additional cost. But we're going to make Account Updater available within that blended rate at no additional cost. So what this allows us to do is on a regular basis, our system automatically seeks out updates from the card networks via our link into our processor. And we're going to be able to automatically update in your system the new expiration dates so that you don't have to manually be handling those updates, calling out to your customers and get new credit card information if you've seen failed transactions. So this is a really nice way of making sure that your recurring revenue stream stays on point, which, as all of you know, in today's world is critical. And it really does allow us to support those evergreen payment options on your customer accounts that you all are moving towards. So these are a few things that may not be completely new to you, but are now options, and you can take advantage of them within your blended rate. So let's talk a little bit about some of the exciting new things that are coming to customers of WorkWave payments. I've talked to a number of you guys at user conferences and stuff, and I know some of these are ones that you're excited to hear about. Payments in the field. We can finally announce that in June, towards the end of June, we are going to be able to have available payments in the field. So ahead of this going live, Alyssa and I will be working with the team to get information out to you, to let you know what the process is, to get your hands on the hardware. We're going to have several different hardware options. They will range from a very simple device that's just dip the card for the chip or swipe it, Bluetooth enabled device that'll work with our WorkWave mobile apps, your PestPack mobile app, your WorkWave mobile app. We'll also have devices that are a little bit more advanced, ones that are capable of handling mobile wallet contactless payments. And we're also even going to have an option at a little higher price point, but if you wanted to have some devices out in the field that actually had a debit card PIN pad and a custom branded screen on the device. You'll have a number of different devices to pick from. These devices are certified through us and through our processor to be completely secure. They'll work with our mobile apps. They'll be Bluetooth enabled from the app, and you'll be able to get those for your technicians in the field and begin accepting payments in the field with these devices. This is a great way to show, a lot of respect for your customers, for their time, for their privacy. Really makes you look, up to date and with it in terms of technology. And they do ensure the highest level of security and minimize any fraud liability by supporting that EMV chip reading. Your techs aren't going to need to read the card, type in any numbers, write down any sensitive card data. Really moving us forward, and something that Vantiv and WorldPay has not been able to offer us in our referral business that you guys might have been familiar with. So this is coming in June, and between now and then, we'll get you more information on those types of devices and how you get your hands on them. Alyssa, on the next slide, I want to go ahead and talk about some enhancements to credit card processing functionality that's available in PestPack. So, we talk a lot about the payments platform and how we're adding flexibility through WorkWave payments, but we're also continuing to add additional payment related functionality within PassPack itself. So one of these is increased automation of credit card batch functionality. So being able to release credit card billings to run automatically on a set schedule and automatically email out credit card receipts, just taking a little bit out of the user effort out of that process. We're also going to be enhancing ePay to allow customers to pay multiple invoices through ePay, not just the one invoice that includes the link to ePay. So we'll continue to also look for other opportunities within PassPack to increase the functionality and the ease and the simplicity of processing payments. And with more of the payments capability in our internal control, it just makes things like these a lot easier to roll out for you all than when we were more dependent on a referral partner. I noticed in the polls that not as many of you are taking checks. That's not surprising, right? So we know that as we service more and more homeowners that are millennials, they don't have stamps, they don't have envelopes, they sure as heck don't have checkbooks, right? But we do have a lot of people that do still accept a number of their payments in checks. And, you know, it's more important now than ever that we make it easy for you to remotely deposit those checks, to get those checks. You know, I know a number of our customers aren't even having their technicians come into the office on a daily or weekly basis right now. With the COVID stuff, they're just dispatching straight to home and then figuring out a way to drop off checks later. So later on this summer, mid-August, we're going to be able to support field check capture. And so you won't even have to deal with getting those checks to the office. The technicians will be able to scan those straight from our mobile app and deposit them much more quickly, helping you speed up your cash flow, helping to make sure those checks aren't getting carried around in trucks for days at a time. I know when I had my businesses, the number of checks that I found that had slipped down between the seats and the console, and that I'd find later as we were cleaning out, you know, trucks was pretty discerning. So if you think about how you're able to use the camera on your phones and deposit checks for your personal business, for check deposits, for your home personal banking. It's very much the same technology that'll be baked into our mobile apps, and you'll be able to capture those checks in the field. One more that I want to talk in this section, Alyssa will jump to the next one, is mobile wallets. So I've got this slated on the roadmap here, showing this for Q4, but in reality, we think we're going to be able to offer at least some of this sooner. So consider this kind of a worst case. So especially if you get that hardware that I mentioned that includes not just the EMV chip and the swipe as a backup, but also handles contactless payments. The mobile wallets like Google Pay, Apple Pay, Android Pay are also going to be supported by that hardware. So customers that have those mobile wallets on their phones will be able to pay you. You'll also be able to they'll also be able to use those payment platforms on things such as Customer Connect, our customer portal, Sales Assistant, and ePay. So it'll really allow you to accept payments any way your customers want to pay you and make your operations just as simple and as smooth as possible. So that's coming later on this year. We hope sooner. The hardware is going to be equipped when it rolls out in June. We just need to do some extra testing and some extra certification to be able to take those additional methods of payment.